You've spent your whole life becoming what other people needed, and now you don't know who you are when no one's watching. You built yourself around other people's expectations so carefully, so completely, that when you try to find yourself underneath it all, there's just silence. This isn't about low self-esteem. It's about something deeper. Let me describe something. You're good at reading rooms. You know what to say to make someone feel comfortable. You can sense what's needed before it's ever asked. But when someone asks you what you want, you freeze. When you have a free weekend with no obligations, you feel anxious. When you try to sit with your own thoughts, it feels like static. You've become so good at being needed that you've forgotten how to simply be. And the worst part? People love you for it. They call you dependable, thoughtful, easy to be around. So you keep doing it, because at least when you're needed, you know your purpose. At least when you're helping, you feel real. But here's what's actually happening. You're not broken. You're not defective. You're experiencing something psychologists call conditional self-worth. Your sense of identity became externalized somewhere early on, maybe through family, maybe through trauma, maybe just from being sensitive in a world that needed you to adapt. You learned that your value came from your usefulness. So your brain did what brains do. It optimized. It built an entire operating system around one belief: I am what I provide. Let's talk about what's happening inside your brain. There's a concept called the relational self. It means we don't develop a sense of who we are in isolation. We develop it through feedback, through mirroring, through attachment. When you were young, your brain was asking one core question: how do I stay safe? How do I stay connected? And if the answer you learned was by being helpful, by not being a burden, by anticipating needs, your brain wired itself around that. Not consciously, not intentionally. Deep in your limbic system, the part of your brain responsible for survival and attachment. Think of it like this. Your brain carved a path through the forest. You walked it again and again and again until it became a highway. Now, whenever you face uncertainty, your brain takes that highway automatically. Be useful, be needed, then you'll be safe. But that highway doesn't lead to you. It leads to a performance of you, a version that's palatable, helpful, non-threatening. So how do you find yourself underneath all that conditioning? Not through some big breakthrough, but through small, deliberate acts of self-recovery. First, notice the performance. Notice the moments when you shapeshift. When someone asks what you want to eat and you say, I'm fine with anything. When you agree to plans you don't want, because it's easier than disappointing someone. When you feel guilty for having boundaries. Don't judge it, just notice it. That awareness, that's called metacognition. And that distance between the behavior and your awareness of it, that's where change begins. Second, reclaim micro-choices. You don't need to know your life's purpose yet. You just need to practice having preferences. What do you want for lunch? What do you want to watch? What does your body need right now? Rest or movement? These feel small. They're not. Each micro-choice sends a signal to your nervous system. My needs matter. My preferences are valid. Over time, those signals rewire the pathway. Third, sit with the discomfort of being unknown. This is the hard part. When you stop performing, you'll feel invisible. When you stop being useful, you'll feel worthless. That's not truth. That's your nervous system panicking. Because growth, real neurological growth, only happens in discomfort. That's neuroplasticity. So when you feel that void, you're not falling apart. You're creating space. Sit with it. Breathe through it. Let it exist without rushing to fill it. Think of your sense of self like a house. For years, every door and window was open. Anyone could walk in. Anyone could rearrange the furniture. You thought that was connection. But real connection doesn't require you to be empty. It requires you to be full. Full of your own thoughts, your own preferences, your own boundaries. When you close some of those doors, not all, just some, you're not shutting people out. You're finally inviting yourself in. You don't need to know who you are yet. You just need to stop pretending you're whoever they need. The self you're looking for isn't hiding. It's been waiting for you to stop performing long enough to notice it. So start small. One honest preference, one boundary, one moment where you choose yourself. Not because you have it all figured out, but because you're finally curious enough to find out. You were never meant to be needed. You were meant to be whole. And wholeness begins the moment you stop abandoning yourself for others. Fourth, find your glimmers. Small moments when you feel at ease. Not productive, not impressive, just present. Maybe it's the first sip of coffee in the morning. Maybe it's a song that makes you feel something you can't explain. Maybe it's the weight of a blanket at night. These moments are breadcrumbs. Your nervous system saying, this is you. Follow them. Not obsessively, just curiously. And finally, protect your inner world. You've spent years making yourself available. Now you need to practice being unavailable. Not to punish anyone, but to create boundaries around your inner life. This is called individuation, becoming a separate self. And yes, it requires saying no. It requires disappointing people. It requires letting others feel uncomfortable without rushing to fix it.